occurred in Morocco on 8 September 2023. This matter was admissible, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Relations was directed to issue a statement in due course.
And in another statement, Mr. Simumba, of course, did raise a matter of urgent public importance on two conflicting statements by the Minister of Agriculture in relation to FISIP. And of course, the statement was admissible, and the Minister the Minister of Agriculture was directed to issue a statement in due course. And thereafter, the House went on to consider, there was a ministerial statement that was rendered on the floor of the House, and that was rendered by the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, and this statement was on the shutdown of Ilonda 1 water treatment plant in Kafue district to facilitate the repair works on the main transmission pipeline to Lusaka, and that the shutdown would be for more than 60 days. The minister further briefed the House on the cause of the shutdown and mitigating measures that would be implemented during the shutdown to the affected areas.
And thereafter, question for oral answer number 1, understanding order 74, the member being absent, the question lapsed.
And we look at today's order paper. We have 3 questions for oral answer and also 3 government bills that will be presented. Just now we go to the floor of the House. Good afternoon.
Of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us, all her people, join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation. in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, I have two announcements to make. The first announcement is to the effect that I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils as well as teachers from Macha Girls Secondary School in Choma District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, and indeed on my own behalf, I warmly welcome you, our visitors in our midst. I thank you. The next announcement, honorable members, this is in connection with the announcement for the composition of Standing Orders Committee for the third session of the 13th National Assembly. Honorable members, in accordance with Article 80 of the Constitution of Zambia, Amendment Act Number 2 of 2016, and Standing Order 188, the following members of Parliament will constitute the Standing Orders Committee for the third session of the 13th National Assembly. Standing Orders Committee. The Honorable Speaker, Chairperson, the Honorable Leader of Government Business in the House, the Honorable First Deputy Speaker, Vice Chairperson, the Honorable Second Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning, the Honorable Government Chief Whip, the Honorable Leader of Opposition, Ms. Honorable Jacqueline Savao, MP, Ms. Stephen Kampiongo, MP, Mr. Remember Simutale, MP, Mr. Machila Jamba, MP, and Mr. Emmanuel M. Musonda, MP. Secondly, I further, in accordance with Article 80 of the Constitution of Zambia, Amendment Act Number 2 of 2016, and Standing Order 165-2 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2021, the Standing Orders Committee has appointed members of Parliament to the standing committees for the third session of the 13th National Assembly as follows. House Business Committee. The Honorable Speaker, Chairperson, the Honorable Leader of Government Business in the House, the Honorable First Deputy Speaker, Vice Chairperson, the Honorable Second Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Government Chief Whip, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Stephen Kampiongo, MP, Mr. J.E. Banda, MP, Mrs. Maureen Mabonga, MP, Mr. Clement Andeleki, MP. Committee on Privileges and Absences. The Honorable First Deputy Speaker, Chairperson, the Honorable Minister of Justice, the Honorable Government Chief Whip, the Honorable Leader of Opposition, Mr. Imanga Wamunyima, MP, Mr. David Mabumba, MP, Mrs. Julian Nyemba, MP, Brigadier General Morgan S. Twala, MP, retired, Ms. Christoza Halwindi, MP, Chrysosta. It's a Tonga name, so don't mind. Chrysosta Halwindi, MP, Mr. Joel Chibuye, MP. Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee. The Honorable Second Deputy Speaker, Chairperson, the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning, the Honorable Minister of Justice, the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Deputy Government Chief Whip, Mr. Emmanuel Banda, MP, Mr. Emmanuel M. Tembo, MP, Mr. Saiti K. Michelo, MP, Mr. Elias M. Musonda, MP, Mrs. Marjorie Nakaponda, MP. Public Accounts Committee, Mr. Warren C. Mwambazi, MP, Ms. Jacqueline Savao, MP, Mr. Gordon Mwila, MP, Mr. Nicholas M. Mukumbi, MP, Mr. Imanga Wamunyima, MP, Engineer Jonathan Daka, MP, Mr. Likando Mfalali, MP, Mr. George Chisanga, MP, Mr. Victor Lumai, MP, Ms. Sibongile Mwamba, MP. Committee on Delegated Legislation, Mr. Remember Simutale, MP, Ms. Imelda Munashabantu, MP, Mr. Grace Chonde, MP, Mr. Kenny Siachisumo, MP, Mr. Frank Araka Pianga, MP, Mr. Wesley Kolala, MP, Mr. Philemon Twasa, MP, Mr. Sipo Lazo, MP, Mr. Charles A. Mulenga, MP, Mr. Menyanizulu, MP. Committee on Government Assurances, Mr. Gregory Ngowani, MP, Ms. Jean Chisenga, MP, Mr. George K. Kandafula, MP, Mr. Emmanuel Banda, MP, Mr. Emmanuel M. Tembo, MP, Mr. Kalie M. Mandandi, MP, Mr. Lloyd Lubozia, MP, Mr. Herbert Mapani, MP, Mr. Christopher Chibuye, MP, Mr. Robert M. Chavinga, MP. Planning and Budget Committee, Mr. Fred C. Chatila, MP, Ms. Brenda Nyirenda, MP, Mr. David Mavumba, MP, Mr. Kalalwe Mukosa, MP, Mr. Konwa Simunji, MP, Mr. Machila Jamba, MP, Mr. Jeffrey Mulebwa, MP, Mr. Anton C. Mumba, MP, Mr. Mayungo Simuchi, MP, Mr. Mavashikwe Kurukusa, MP. Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Saiti K. Michelo, MP, Ms. Maureen Mavonga, MP, Mr. Andrew Tayengwa, MP, Mr. Michael J. Z. Katambo, MP, Mr. Yota Mtayachalo, MP, Mr. Peter Piri, MP, Mr. Lusale J. Simbao, MP, Mr. Mwemba Malambo, MP, Mr. Akelo A.I. Banda, MP, Mr. Tyson Simuzingili, MP. Committee on Media, Information and Communication Technologies, Engineer Raphael S. Mavenga, MP, Mr. Sidney Mushanga, MP, Ms. Melisiana Piri, MP, Mr. Andrew Lubosha, MP, Mr. Romeo Kangombe, MP, Mr. Andrew Tayengwa, MP, Mr. Walusa Mulaliki, MP, Walusa Mulaliki, MP, Mr. Oliver Amutike, MP, Mr. Chanda Katotobwe, MP, Mr. Mishek Nyambose, MP. Committee on Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Twambo Mutinta, MP, Mr. Mwemba Malambo, MP, Mr. Chinga Miyutu, MP, Mr. Tyson Simuzingli, MP, Mr. Lakson M. Lungu, MP, Mr. Sidney Mushanga, MP, Mr. Davis Chisopa, MP, Mr. Elias Daka, MP, Mr. Harry S.K. Kamboni, MP, Ms. Melisiana Piri, MP. Committee on Energy, Water Development and Tourism, Mr. Romeo Kangombe, MP, Mr. Chanda Katotovwe MP, Mrs. Miriam C. Chonya MP, Ambassador Robert K. Kalimi MP, Engineer Raphael S. Mavenga MP, Mr. Gregory Goswani MP, Mrs. Kapampa S. Mulenga, whatever. When I give you a Mbunda name, you won't be able to pronounce it. Kapampa Mulenga. Sorry, yeah, it's not deliberate. In our language, we don't have MPA, so you can bear with me. Mr. Raphael J. Z. Katambo, MP. Mr. Lamek Hamwata, MP. Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, MP. Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. Mr. Clement Andeleki, MP. Mr. Sila Ilungu, MP. Mr. Chinga Miutu, MP. Mr. Pavyuma Kalobo, MP. Mr. Menyani Zulu, MP. Mr. Lamek Hamwata, MP. Mr. Sande Sichanda, MP. Mr. Joseph Esi Musanje, MP. Mr. Monty Chinkuli, MP. Mr. Mulenga F. Ufube, MP. The composition of other committees will be announced tomorrow. Honorable members, if upon my completion of announcing the composition of all the committees, any honorable member finds that they do not belong to any committee, such a member should inform the office of the clerk accordingly. I thank you. Order, honorable members, can we settle down and proceed with our business? Matters of urgent public importance. I've seen 3 indications. We start with the honorable member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to raise a matter of urgent public importance in accordance with the Standing Order number 134, directed at the Leader of Government Business in the House. Madam Speaker, hunger has broken up in Chief Nabwaria's chiefdom in Mpika district. There is serious hunger in Nabwaria, and for the past 2 weeks, we have engaged relevant authorities following an application to DMMU for relief food. And people are more worried that we are going towards the rain season, which will make it very impossible for any relief food to be delivered during the onset of the rains as the road becomes impassable. Madam Speaker, I therefore direct this matter of urgent public importance to the Leader of Government Business in the House, and I seek your indulgence.
Thank you. The honorable member from Pika is urged or encouraged to engage the Vice President's office, DMMU, to ensure that arrangements are made to address that situation. The matter is therefore not admitted. It's a matter that can be dealt with. Honorable members, please do engage. Because if you wait until the matter is raised as a matter of public importance, if indeed people are dying of hunger, by the time the matter is discussed, ministerial statement, people would have died. So, honorable members, can we take the initiative to engage with the relevant institutions? The honorable member for Chadiza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My matter of urgent public importance is directed at the Minister of Mines. Madam Speaker, in a ward called Kumba in my constituency, there are some serious illegal gold mining happening right now, such that the country is losing a lot of resources with regards to these illegal mining, or these illegal gold mining which are happening in Kumba ward. Madam Speaker, is the Minister of Mines in order by keeping quiet when the country is losing huge natural endowment in form of gold in my constituency? Madam Speaker, I seek your serious indulgence.
The issue of illegal mining is ongoing. It's not of recent occurrence. Honorable member, I would suggest that you put in a question which the honorable minister can answer at the appropriate time. Does not qualify to be raised as a matter of urgent public importance and therefore not admitted. We make progress. Questions for oral answer under Standing Order 47. The honorable member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Question 16.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Madam Speaker, the MP for Kabwe Central is asking the Minister of Transport and Logistics, A, whether the government has any plans to lease the Zambia Railways workshop in Kitwe district, B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House as follows. A, the government has no immediate plans to lease the Zambia Railways Limited workshop in Kabwe district. B, as stated above in A, government will not implement such plans. C, the workshop will not be leased because it was designed to support railway services. Government is in the process of recapitalizing Zambia Railway Limited, which is expected to enhance the operations of the company through the acquisition of rolling stock and thereby increasing demand for services offered by the workshop. Madam Speaker, government takes cognizance of the underutilization of the workshop for a long time now. Therefore, in the interim, Zambia Railway Limited has started commercializing the workshop by entering into strategic commercial partnerships with various private companies and government institutions. Currently, the company has signed a number of MOUs with various companies and institutions in the agriculture, construction, water, mining, and manufacturing sectors, among others, to undertake various jobs such as carpentry, metal fabrication, and heavy equipment repairs. This will ensure that the workshop remains viable. The ultimate goal of Zambia Railways Limited is to commercialize the workshop to full capacity by partnering with strategic partners. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The honorable member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Acting Minister, for your response. Madam Speaker, you may be of interest to know that Kabwe district have got no industries whatsoever, and we have got a lot of problems in terms of job creation, especially for our youth. If this workshop, which is almost the largest in Central Africa, can be utilized to the full capacity, it can employ a lot of youth, especially those we sent under CDF to do metal fabrication. So having listened to the answers, I just want to find out, since the minister said that they have signed a lot of MOU with private companies who are doing a lot of works under agriculture, how many workers does the workshop has at currently, since they are all MOUs that have signed with the different companies, and you are saying the operations ongoing? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Madam, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I do not have the numbers of workers as of now because it was talking about whether government has plans to lease. And in case we have to go and check, we will go and check to establish how many workers there are. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Wacha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a follow-up question on the matter on the floor of the House. Minister, in responding to, I think, one of the questions, you indicated that the government of the Republic of Zambia is in the process of recapitalizing Zambia Railways. Madam Speaker, there was no duration. Minister, when is the government of the Republic of Zambia going to recapitalize Zambia Railways? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
The honorable member quoted me rightly when I said we are in the process. So in the process cannot have a timeline. It's the process. Isn't it? So a process is a process. So it has started. When it ends, I don't know. But the process is there.
The Honorable Member for Chembe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, Zambia Railways has got a lot of properties apart from workshops which are underutilized. I don't know whether your ministry have taken audit of these properties so that the ministry can make a decision on how these properties can be utilized, because some are just subjected to vandalism. Thank you.
The way the question is couched is that it's referring to the lease of the Zambia Railways workshop in Kabwe. It doesn't talk about the general properties belonging to Zambia Railways. I don't know if the Honorable Minister would be able to answer that question. I'm sure he's not prepared. Maybe we can hear it from the Minister. Let him speak for himself.
You rightly said it, madam. I'm not prepared.
We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Wacha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 17.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I seek your indulgence to allow me to use this forum to congratulate the UPND for scooping a ward election in Dundumwezi, wherein, Madam Speaker, the UPND was unopposed. All the other political parties in the country, Madam Speaker, scampered, and they could not find support to field a candidate in Dundumwezi. Congratulations to Councillor Kuyanda Malawi. It has not happened from the time we assumed the office. It speaks volumes, Madam Speaker. Congratulations once again. Madam Speaker, the whole country is now Dundumwezi. Even Chieng is Dundumwezi, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Wacha, Honorable Sidin Mushanga, asked the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security the following questions. A, how many recruits were enrolled in the following institutions from 2020 to 2022 year by year? 1, Zambia Police Service. 2, Zambia Correction Service. B, what the total number of recruits segregated by gender in each institution was. C, how many recruits graduated in each institution in the same period. And D, of the recruits who graduated, how many were receiving upkeep allowance instead of salary as of December 2022? Madam Speaker, in responding to the questions asked by the Honorable Member of Parliament, I wish to inform the House as follows. A, Zambia Police Service. The Zambia Police Service recruited a total number of 3,875 officers in 2021 in all the 3 training institutions, namely Police College, Geoffrey Mukuma for Paramilitary, and School of Public Order Management, Kafinsa. There was no police recruitment in 2020 and 2022. 2, Zambia Correctional Service. The Zambia Correctional Service, Madam Speaker, recruited a total number of 2,066 officers between 2020 and 2022 as follows. 114 in 2020, 928 in 2021, and 1,024 in 2022. B, there were 2,410 males and 1,465 females recruited at the 3 police training institutions as follows. 547 males and 799 females were recruited at Lilai College. 564 males and 666 females were recruited at Kafinsa, while 1,299 males only were recruited at Geoffrey Mukuma Paramilitary Battalion, bringing the total number to 3,875 recruits. Under the Zambia Correctional Service, Madam Speaker, 87 males and 27 females were recruited in 2020, whilst in 2021, 573 males and 355 females were recruited. The 2022 recruitment had 520 males and 504 females. From the 3 institutions under the Zambia Police Service, a total of 3,866 recruits graduated as follows. 1, 1,341 recruits graduated from Lilai Police College. 2, 1,228 recruits graduated from Kafinsa College. 3, 1,297 recruits graduated from Geoffrey Mukuma. This is the paramilitary college. 2 recruits, Madam Speaker, died, and 3 recruits were dismissed at Lilai Police College during training. At Kafinsa, 2 recruits were dismissed during training, while at Geoffrey Mukuma Paramilitary, 1 recruit died and 1 was dismissed, bringing the total number of dead and dismissed officers to 3 and 6, respectively. Under the Zambia Correctional Service, a total of 114 and 928 recruits graduated in 2020 and 2021 respectively. The ones recruited in 2022 are still undergoing training. No deaths or dismissals have been recorded so far. D, as of December 2022, all the recruits who graduated in the year 2021 from police training institutions were receiving salaries and not upkeep allowances, while 375 recruits who graduated from the Zambia Correctional Service Training Institution were receiving upkeep allowance. All the 375 officers are now receiving salaries. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Wacha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you so much, Minister, for the response. But Madam Speaker, I'm very much troubled and surprised that the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs has submitted on the floor of the House that a candidate, a councillor candidate in Dundumwezi, one of the wards, went through unopposed. When the minister is very, very much aware, Madam Speaker, that the nominations day was characterized by serious violence. Serious violence, Madam Speaker. And because of that, Madam Speaker, our candidate from the Patriotic Front was not able to file in nominations. So I wonder, Madam Speaker, if the winning of the UPND, I wonder if the minister and the UPND can even celebrate such kind of violence that happened on the nominations day. Asking a follow-up question, Madam Speaker, I would want to know, Honorable
Order, honorable members.
Minister of Home Affairs, follow-up question, the recruits under the correctional service in 2022, you have indicated that they've not graduated. When are they going to graduate, Madam Speaker? Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, I have continued celebrating our victory, which was free and fair, unlike all the elections that were under the reign of the PF. Madam Speaker, the recruits who are undergoing training at Nyango in Kawoma will be graduating on the 29th of September this year.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Pambashe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I ask the Minister, let me pass the message of condolences to the Chishinga Kingdom of Luapra Province over the death of two chiefs, Chief Mulundu of Mwense District in Mambirima constituency, and of course the Chief Mutipula in Chipiri District of Luapura Province. And because of that, Senior Chief Mushota will not be celebrating Malaila on 16th, which falls under the Chishinga speaking people of Luapura Province, to which I proudly belong. Madam Speaker, the Minister gave a very strong preamble that other political parties scampered. Lawyer, the defender of human rights. You are happy with the scampering of other political parties. But the question is, he knows he's a very good defender of human rights as a lawyer by profession. Madam Speaker, the Zambia Police Service did begin the process of recruitment 2022. And youths across the country have been sending the messages And as the minister was giving the breakdown of the recruitment, he did not refer to the recruitment of the Zambia police other than the prison. Is it a government official position, Minister, that you've chosen to skip that very important, that is the recruitment of those young boys and girls who were selected will not take place? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't know if the honorable member was in attendance, because I know that I was following. The honorable minister referred to the recruitment of Zambia Police Service. I'm sure for 2022 he said there was none. Anyway, let him answer. I'm sure we were still passing condolences and hitting at each other. I know Dundumwe's things come in big sizes, so on a lighter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to commiserate with my colleague for the loss of our leaders in his constituency. I wish God's consolation to the people of Luapula pertaining to the loss. Madam Speaker, I did mention that there was no recruitment in 2020. We did not recruit, but the process started in 2022. The recruitment is still ongoing. Very soon, we will be announcing the recruitments for 2023, not 2022, because we did not recruit. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The honorable member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing the people of Kwacha constituency to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. Honorable Minister, with the increasing number of recruitments in the Zambia Correctional Service, as well as the Zambia Police, does the government have plans to construct new housing units to accommodate this increased number which you have indicated to this House? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Yes, Madam Speaker. The government has intentions to construct housing units for security officers who are serving under the Zambia Police Service, Correctional Service, and other wings. We have a contract that has been running, which hasn't been terminated. We're just looking for modalities to ensure that we are compliant with the loans that were obtained. Once those issues are resolved, Madam Speaker, we will recommence the construction of housing units.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chieng.
Thank you, Madam. I just want to find out, seeing that the police service is the most, I take to be the most important security that every nation needs. They take care of all the citizens. Why is it that the Zambia police or Ministry of Home Affairs, when it comes to recruitment, the numbers are so small? Because the current numbers we have cannot even be the numbers that are desirable for the nation. Why is it that you are employing in piecemeals and in small numbers? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, I do appreciate the concerns that have been expressed by my honorable colleague, Member of Parliament for Chiengi. What I want to state, Madam Speaker, is that the financial envelope is limited. We do appreciate that there's a need to recruit police officers and other security wings. But the recruitment is dependent on the availability of resources. I can confirm that we are progressively recruiting to ensure that the ratio of policing vis the police and members of the public is reduced. It will depend on the availability of resources. I do take note of the concerns.
Thank you. The last question, the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, like colleagues have said, mine is just to encourage the Honorable Minister to be the last one to, because of his responsibilities over all of us, to be the last one to celebrate issues that look like undemocratic. And I looked after you, don't comment. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, some ministers are unruly. Look at the colleague.
Oh, the honorable members, I think you started the process of trying
Yeah, but why should he engage me who's on the floor? He's seated there.
Is
The
that
Minister
the way?
of Water.
Oh, the honorable member for Shiwangandu, is that the way we are going to proceed today?
We shouldn't proceed like that, Madam Speaker,
Yes,
because
so,
when you recognize us, I have got the floor.
Order.
He shouldn't engage me while he's seated.
Order. Honorable member for Shiwangandu, ask your points of, or your supplementary question.
My supplementary question to the Honorable Minister is just to find out what he's doing to ensure that confidence, we appreciate the figures that he has given progressively, which is very important. But I would like to know what he's doing to ensure that confidence in his officers is restored following the negative lamentations coming from the senior most in the police service, the Inspector General, was labeling some of the officers as being junkies. I would like to know what the Honorable Minister is doing in order to instill confidence in those officers who have been well trained. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, I would like to respond to the other leg of the question and comment that was made by my honorable colleague, former Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Kampyongo, pertaining to the comment I made. Madam Speaker, as a custodian of law and order in this country, I would not want to condone lawlessness. But I can confirm, Madam Speaker, that there is no report whatsoever of violence that occurred in Dundumwezi. What happened was that the candidates who wanted to aspire were busy looking for supporters for 1 week without finding any support. Hence their failure to file as candidates. There was no violence, Madam Speaker, in Dundumwezi. It was the failure to accrue support in Dundumwezi. That is what happened. Yes. And Madam Speaker, it's just 9 supporters. And they tried the whole week to look for 9 supporters. They could not find any.
Order. I think let's get back to the business.
Thank you. Now let me come back. Madam Speaker, I want to state that I'm a very proud Minister of Home Affairs. Taking into account that professionalism in the Zambia Police Service has been restored. The police officers currently are maintaining law and order without any undue influence. Madam Speaker, for the first time in the last 10 years.
Order, there is an indication for a point of order. First, before we go to that point of order, Honorable Member from Pika, what are you chewing so loud? You are not allowed to chew anything. Please, can you get rid of whatever you are chewing? The Honorable Member for Lunte, point of order.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for according me the opportunity to rise on this extremely important order on the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security relating to the discourse he's tendering on the floor of the House, specifically when he says he's a very proud Minister of Home Affairs because professionalism in the police service has been achieved under his leadership. Madam Speaker, I'll just give two examples, and that will be enough.
The Honorable Member for Lunte, you are raising a point of order.
Yes.
What's the point of order? Do not
Just
debate.
two examples. One,
Do not debate. What's the point of order? What breach has been committed?
65, Madam Speaker,
What-
content of speech. Because the information he has given is totally unverifiable. In fact, what is out there is the opposite, and I want to give these two opposite examples.
Now you are debating. Honorable Member, can we make progress? Honorable Member for Lunte, you are out of order. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was saying, Madam Speaker, that I'm a very proud Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security pertaining to the operations of the Zambia Police Service. From the time we assumed office, Madam Speaker, no one has gone to a police station to beat policemen. No one. During our reign, Madam Speaker, members of the public opposition political parties have been having interactions publicly without any tear gas, without any beatings that have occurred. Nothing has happened of the sort, unlike what used to happen during those days. That is why I'm saying I'm a very proud member of Parliament and Minister of Home Affairs. We have noted, even where, Madam Speaker, even where policemen have been touted and humiliated, they have never responded. They have been advising the leaders of political parties to take their cool at police stations and outside police stations. Unlike in the past, such instances, Madam Speaker, would have led to tear gassing, beating, including killing, as we witnessed in other areas and situations. I'm very proud. Obviously, the Inspector General of Police was expressing concern that there are bad eggs within the Zambia Police Service. It's a fact. Matters in public domain where in the Zambia Police Service itself has arrested a number of policemen who have misconducted themselves. That is a sign of professionalism where you don't condone, but ensure that even those who have been tasked to enforce law and order, if they go astray, the law follows them. All of us must be proud that such things happen. So, Madam Speaker, I'm very proud, and my colleagues should be proud that we are taking measures to ensure that there's professionalism.
The Honorable Member for Bwacha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, the officers, the recruits who are passing out on Friday, 29th September 2023 at Nyango Correctional Training Facility. What are the numbers? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the numbers that will be graduating at Nyango on the 29th of September 2023 will be 1,024.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Shwangandu, you have already asked a question. We only allow each member to ask once. What's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, the point of order is the response I've gotten from the Minister. Yes, I know he was talking about professionalism, and the conduct officers. Only yesterday, we had those tear smokes flying around in Chilenja. I don't know if he's not aware. But my question was very clear. I was asking the minister what he's doing.
What is the breach, honorable member? What breach?
Madam Speaker, Standing Order 65B. My question to the minister was, the measures he's taking in order to instill confidence. The Inspector General made a blanket statement, not a selective one where you said bad eggs. He said those that were recruited during a specific period were all junkies. And that's why I was asking
Order, honorable member.
the minister.
I'm at a loss. Order. I'm at a loss because the honorable member for Shuangandu asked the question and the honorable minister answered. Now you are asking a question. You were raising a point of order. You stated the breach is in accordance Standing Order 65-2, but you have not stated what that breach is. You are now asking a clarification on your question that you had asked. That completely is unprocedural, and it cannot be allowed unless if you are raising a specific point of order stating the breach that has been committed, and then a ruling will be made. But if you are going to counter what the minister answered, then that is unprocedural.
I said, Madam Speaker, I was raising a point of order pursuant to 65, 1B, which states that the member should ensure that the information he or she provides to the House is factual and verifiable. And that's what I was using to bring to the attention of the minister that the statement from the Inspector General was not selective in nature to bad elements. It was a general bracket, as he knows. And my question was to find out what measures he was putting in place to instill confidence in those officers who were alleged, who were branded awesomely as junkies. That was my question. But he, in response, referred to some isolated bad elements in the police service. That's why I raised that point of order, grounded on 65B.
The only problem that I see here is that you cannot challenge that in that manner the answer that has been given by the minister. Maybe you can explore other means to challenge, but there's no, it's unprocedural for you to raise in that manner. So can we make progress? We go to the next question, which is the Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Question number 18, Madam.
The Honorable Minister of Small Scale, the Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Mutale, ask the Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development when the government will set up the Micro, Small and Medium Businesses Committee in Chitambo District. Our response is as follows. The government, through my ministry, currently does not have plans to set up the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Committee in Chitambo District. This is because the ministry already has a presence in all the districts, including Chitambo District. The ministry's presence in the districts across the country is through the district cooperatives and entrepreneurship officers. The officers coordinate and implement all activities aimed at supporting the development and growth of cooperatives and micro, small, and medium businesses. The ministry's of the view that creating other structures which would need operational costs to run them may not be feasible both in the short and in the long run. However, our officers are encouraged to come up with some initiatives that could allow for the easy reach out to our small and medium businesses in order to promote their growth. Therefore, if a proposed micro, small, and medium committees would be formed as a local initiative, the ministry will support such ideas. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Minister, the reason why we asked that question is because the ministry itself is not being felt in Chitambo. So the people of Chitambo felt that they should ask your ministry to come up with a recognized body so that they could at least take their views to that body. The question is, how are you going to ensure that your ministry, through the body that you just mentioned, the cooperative, I didn't get the other name that you attached to it, will help and be felt to the people of Chitambo that it is there and it is present? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
Madam Speaker, I talked of cooperative officers, stroke entrepreneurship officers. We actually supposed to have 2 officers in each and every district, the cooperative officer and entrepreneurship officer. So we are in the process. Once Treasury Authority is granted, we'll be able to also bring in the entrepreneurship officer. But at the moment, the ministry is engaging with its officers in the districts to give them capacity to help them also to understand the role of entrepreneurship in each and every district. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, looking at the ministry where my honorable brother, my honorable brother is heading, it's a very important ministry. And this ministry, I think it's here to help out the startups and those who are struggling in the markets. My question to the minister, he has answered well that each district have a cooperative officer and the other office. He will agree with me that in the last few, maybe a year or so now, he has tried to empower a good number of people with 2,000 kwachas, 5,000 kwachas, which is very great. But my issue, Madam Speaker, comes to us from the rural areas. Us from the rural areas, Madam Speaker, with his good intentions, the money does not reach people like him in Chitambo, myself in Nyimba. You hear that Lusaka, a certain market, 200 people have received. Then you check at Nyimba, only 1 or 2 have received. Minister, is it that we've brought problem with officers, or it's because our help to the small markets is done by the DAOs instead of the specific officers at our district levels? Thank you.
Honorable members, as we ask questions, we should always look at how the question has been couched. This is in relation to Chitambo district. I know as the minister was answering, he opened up the question, but this is a constituency-based question. However, I'll allow the minister to answer.
Madam Speaker, we must also bear in mind that this is a new ministry, and we're developing solutions to cater for those who are into rural areas. soon I'll come up with ministerial statement where a member of the member of parliament, we will be engaged to see how we can reach out to those of our SMEs who are in the rural areas very soon. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chitambo.
Madam Speaker, I just want to confirm if the cooperatives and entrepreneur officers have been sent to Chitambo. If so, maybe I could have their names. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development.
Madam Speaker, my record showing that in each and every district, we supposed to have cooperative officers, stock entrepreneurship officers. For Chitambo, I will have to double check to make sure that the officer is there. If the officer is not there immediately, we should be able to, attach an officer there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member would like to know the names of those officers. Maybe the best way is the Honorable Member for Chitambo, engage the Honorable Minister, then you'll get those details. The Honorable Member for Lundazi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Lundazi a chance to ask a follow-up question. Minister of Small Enterprise and Development. A very powerful ministry you have, my brother, for me. Honorable Minister, one way in which you can ensure that your ministry is known elsewhere is utilizing the media. If it fails, would want to see you even in Lundazi at our market to see to it that you are known. You have said that it's a new ministry, and coming up with a ministerial statement, I don't think you'll be able to touch our lives. When are you planning to do a visitation of all your markets? You have a very big, clientele to deal with. I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have towards some provinces, except Eastern Province, where the Member of Parliament who has just asked the question is coming from. I am scheduled to be in Eastern Province very soon, and we should be able to engage with our people there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. We make progress. Presentation of government bills. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2023. The object of the bill is to amend the Criminal Procedure Code so as to A, make the offense of stock theft non-bailable, B, empower all classes of the subordinate court to commit matters required to be committed for trial to the High Court, C, enhance the powers of the Chief Justice relating to issuance of rules under the Act, and D, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Criminal Procedure Bill, Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2023.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. Order, honorable members. I'll ask you to repeat what I said. to just confirm whether you were listening. Honorable Member for Dudumais. Let's have order. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House by Wednesday, 11th October 2023. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill. The Honorable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 20 of 2023. The object of the bill is to amend the Penal Code so as to A, enhance the provisions relating to the offense of stock theft, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Let the bill be read the first time.
The Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 20 of 2023.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. The committee, honorable members, I will repeat that. The bill stands referred to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House by Wednesday, 11th October 2023. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. Next bill. The Honorable Acting Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with leave of the House, I wish to defer the presentation of the bill to a later date. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Is it your will that leave be granted to defer presentation of the bill to a later date? Any objection? I see none. Presentation of Bill number 21 of 2023 is deferred to a later date. Notes of motion. The Honorable Member for Mwandi.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the speech delivered to this House by His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, on the occasion of the official opening of the third session of the 13th National Assembly on Friday, 8th September 2023.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Kafulafuta. The question is that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Mwandi.
Madam Speaker, in the first place, let me thank you for according me this privilege to move the motion of thanks on the Republican President's speech. Also allow me to congratulate and thank Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, for delivering a sincere, inspiring, thoughtful, and development-focused speech to this August House. Madam Speaker, the President's speech captured the achievements gained so far, the challenges experienced, as well as government's policy direction for the foreseeable future. Certainly, the speech lived up to its theme, which is building on the socio-economic gains for improved livelihoods and a better Zambia. So, in moving my motion, I will unpack some of the important issues contained in the President's speech. Madam Speaker, let me start by expressing my gratitude to the President for being very honest with Zambians when he addressed this August House last Friday. The President did not shy away from talking about challenges confronting this country, as well as high price of mealie meal. I'm happy to note that the President highlighted measures his government was taking to deal with the challenges. For instance, with regard to increased prices of mealie meal, and the President assured Zambians that he would stimulate production in the agricultural sector through transformative interventions like enhancing agricultural support using the Comprehensive Agricultural Transformation Support Program, offering attractive purchase price of maize, promoting water harvesting and improved irrigation techniques, establishing of credit window to support small-scale farmers, just to mention a few. With agriculture being the bedrock of the economy transformation and job creation, it is expected that these interventions will make the price of mealie meal and other food commodities more affordable, bearable, and stable. Madam Speaker, it is gratifying to note that the President is fully aware of the impact of the high price of petroleum products on our local economy. However, we are all aware the cost of petroleum is purely driven by prices in the global supply chain. Therefore, to mitigate the impact of the high fuel prices, the President announced the operationalization of Tazama pipeline to transport cheaper diesel from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania into Zambia. This will help to ease the pressure on the citizens and reduce production costs for various industries that depend on diesel to drive economic activities. In addition, this will help to save the country's roads from damage and maintenance costs owing to the bulk petroleum transportation. Madam Speaker, on human and social development, the President mentioned that he's fully aware of his commitment to construct maternity wings, annexes, with water reticulation at every health center in Zambia. As you are aware, maternal, neonatal, and child health, MNCH, remains a priority for the UPND-led administration. Hence, the government's commitment to reduce neonatal mortality rate from 25 to 20 deaths per 1,000 live births, in line with our Sustainable Development Target 3.2. In this regard, the President's emphasis on the construction of maternity wings will help to safeguard and preserve the lives of mothers and their newborn babies. In addition, the President announced that government will recruit 3,000 health workers in 2023. I'll repeat that. Madam Speaker, the President announced that government will recruit 3,000 health workers in 2023. In addition to neonatal and child health, I'm happy to note that the government has placed a premium on our children, who compose 53.4% of Zambia's population. It is also gratifying to learn that the majority of children have been enrolled in school as a result of free education policy To realize universal access to quality education, these learners, the President last Friday committed this government to continue constructing more schools and recruit an additional 4,500 teachers in 2023 and procure locally produced desks. On good governance environment, Madam Speaker, in the past 2 years, the UPND rule, the country has witnessed enhanced decentralization and devolution of public services. I'm excited to note that the President reaffirmed government's commitment to continue actualizing the decentralization policy. The government has walked the talk by attracting 34,963 civil servants to the local authorities to build their capacity in performing the devolved functions. Madam Speaker, it is gratifying to know that the government has commenced the transfer of assets to local authorities for those ministries with devolved functions. Further, the bottlenecks associated with approving constituency development projects have been dealt with by devolving this function to provinces from the Ministry of Local Governments and Rural Development. Madam Speaker, I want to commend the President for his commitment to infrastructure development, particularly the construction of parliamentary constituency offices. Once implemented, it will lead to the realization of national Assembly of Zambia oversight and legislative roles at subnational levels, as well as enhancing meaningful linkages between parliamentarians and constituencies in these decentralization aspirations. Previously, the construction of constituencies offices was seen as an expensive undertaking, which is why there are no National Assembly constituency offices constructed in 111 constituencies. Madam Speaker, I'm elated that the President has made this policy pronouncement to finance and facilitate the acquisition of titled land for the construction of these offices. Madam Speaker, let me conclude my motion by echoing the President's crusade to prevent and fight corruption in all its forms, as it affects the most vulnerable people in our society, deters investments, weakens economic growth, and above all, it undermines the rule of law. For those reasons, I'm in full support of His Excellency the President's determination to heighten prosecution of offenders with civility. I'm confident that under President Hakainde Hichilema's reign, the levels of corruption will drastically reduce. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kafulafuta.
Madam Speaker, I sincerely thank you for the privilege accorded to me to second the motion, ably moved by Honorable Sylvester Sefula, Member of Parliament for Mwandi constituents. On account of limited time, my debate on the motion of thanks will focus on food security and local production of compound fertilizer, tourism, and skills development. The President acknowledged challenges the country was facing in having adequate supply of maize, which had resulted in high meal prices. He attributed this to regional and global supply deficits due to climate change and instability in some parts of the world. To mitigate the challenge, the New Dawn administration is encouraging commercial and other farmers to, among other things, venture into early maize production and guaranteeing a ready market. This is commendable, and such interventions may help to reduce meal prices. However, I would like to urge the government to do the following. Firstly, quickly facilitate the local production of basil dressing fertilizer, in brackets, D compound, the high cost of importation is negatively affecting food production and the supply chain. Local production will help to eliminate middlemen and cartels in the distribution of fertilizer, who significantly contribute to the high cost of fertilizer. Secondly, expedite the implementation of comprehensive agriculture transformation support program, CATS. We are eagerly waiting to see the difference between CATS and FISEP. The President informed this House that the number of international tourist arrivals increased to 605,650 in the first half of 2023 compared to 456 in the corresponding period of 2022, mainly attributed to the deliberate policy of waiving visa requirements and abolition of retention fees in tourist sector. In addition, the President stated that the number of domestic visits to tourism sites increased from 301,758 in 2022 from 235,392 in 2021. On this note, I would like to state that just as we incentivize foreign tourists, let the government quickly ensure the implementation of the President's directive and clarion call to tour operators to reduce tourism prices for local tourists. It is my earnest expectation that in the next address, the President will report that there were more local tourists than foreign ones. Further, I want to strongly urge government to look into reviewing salaries of staff in the tourism sector. It is no wonder that most of them rely on tips from clients to make ends meet. The President talked of increased enrollments in our skills training and youth resource center from 76,500 in 2022 to 86,700 in 2023. The increase in enrollment numbers is commendable. Skills development is an important sector in the developmental agenda. It helps students think beyond grades and also help them to tap into capabilities, develop real-life skills, and prepare themselves to contribute to economic and national development. However, the government should go a step further to ensure that youth graduates from these centers are also priority to access Constituency Development Fund. This will allow them to engage in productive ventures and projects such as construction of schools and health facilities under CDF. In addition, I urge government to urgently expedite the establishment of innovation hubs beyond Northwestern Province. With these few words, I beg to second the motion. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for according me this opportunity to make a contribution on the speech tendered to this House by the President. Madam Speaker, the President came and opened the third session, The next time he's coming, he will open the fourth session. And the next, he will be opening the fifth nation, and that is it. Therefore, it is important, Madam Speaker, that as we only remain with 2 more sessions, people begin to be told things that they can easily relate with. Page 4. Paragraph 11. Upon assuming office, our priority was to restore the rule of law, fix the economy by sealing leakages, introducing financial prudence, and maintaining macroeconomic stability for sustained growth. Madam Speaker, I quote from the presidential speech. These are the things for which the president wished to undertake as soon as the UPND government came into office. Restore the rule of law. Madam Speaker, I know of one independent member of parliament who was arrested in the precincts of this assembly. Madam
Order,
Speaker,
honorable members, let's avoid debating ourselves. That's against the rules.
I will not mention any name.
No, even then, just the reference to the fact that a member was arrested here. Let's stick to the content of the speech. Let's not bring ourselves.
Okay. Rule of law, Madam Speaker. I know, Madam Speaker, of the fact that a member of parliament was arrested, as a matter of fact, at the motel, as well as outside of this gate against the privileges.
Order, honorable member, I've guided. Please, let's avoid debating ourselves. Order, order. Honorable members, as we debate, please let's avoid debating ourselves. The rules are there, very clear. Refer to the standing orders if you are not very clear, starting from standing order 56. It will give you the process of what is involved in speaking, time limits, manner of speaking, speaking in the House, member to not to speak, all those are the rules that we have outlined for ourselves. So let's stick to them. Most of all, important most of all is let's not debate ourselves. You may proceed, Honorable Member Folont.
Madam Speaker, the Powers and Privileges Act must be abided to in the discharge of our functions. Madam Speaker, what we have begun to see is alien not only to the National Assembly of Zambia, but to Commonwealth parliaments. PF, Madam Speaker, should not regroup. If they do, the president will go around them and hold them by their neck. Madam Speaker, rule of law, I'm talking about the rule of law and the pronouncements which have been made in this country, which we are all aware of. Madam Speaker, no one is above the law, but the treatment of all Zambians must reflect what the president is saying, restoration of the rule of law. Let the Zambian people out there judge as to whether restraining PF from regrouping is rule of law or it is in fact the rule of man. Madam Speaker, let me move on. I've skipped a lot of my material, but I'll move on. One of them is fix the economy, Madam Speaker. This is what I quoted here. Madam Speaker, The economy to some, it's the macroeconomic indicators. To others, it's economic opportunities. To the poor people, it is their ability to eat in Shima twice a day and breakfast in the morning. Today, how many Zambians are able to eat in Shima twice and breakfast in the morning, even if it were a candolo, Madam Speaker? Today, Madam Speaker, how much is the cost of mealie meal? Today, how much, Madam Speaker, is the cost of fuel? How much is the cost of transport? Today, how much are Zambian people having to spend when they communicate, even when you are on social media? How long do your bundles last? These are what the economics of our Zambian people may mean. Madam Speaker, and I heard my honorable colleague as she moved the motion saying the fuel is driven by external factors. Therefore, the president will solve external issues by a local issue. Tazama is a local issue. You cannot solve a problem in Ukraine using a local problem, Madam Speaker. This is why I am saying it is critically important to begin to show.
Order, honorable members on my right. Please, if you have any point that you want to counter, honorable member, order. If you have a point that you want to counter or rebut what the honorable member is saying during his debate, just write it down. You'll be able to respond or to rebut when the time comes for you to speak. Our rules and standing orders do not allow us to debate or to interject while another member is on the floor. Let's allow him to express himself, of course, within our standing orders. May the honorable member continue.
Madam Speaker, and the president will fix the economy by sealing leakages. So he has sealed the leakages. Planes are able to land illegally at KKIA. He has sealed leakages, Madam Speaker, gold at Kasenseli, gold in Impika, copper in Chingola is just moving. The president has sealed leakages, Madam Speaker, with a ministry giving 2 contracts on the same day to 2 individuals with different pricing. One of the two, $1,502 per metric ton of fertilizer, and the other $992 per fertilizer. Those leakages have been sealed. Madam Speaker, it is crucially important to begin to tell the Zambian people what is attainable, what they can relate with. I will end, Madam Speaker. I will end with introduce financial prudence and ask, in 2 years, how many foreign trips has the president made in this financial prudence? Madam Speaker, how many? 2022 and 2023, there were supplementary budgets here, meaning the government failed to stick to their expenditure plan. What is this prudence, Madam Speaker, we're talking about? Madam Speaker, what does it cost the people of Zambia for all these issues, including the production of the presidential speech, which you would come and present to them 15 minutes late, when our Honor the Vice President told us.
Sorry, there is an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Minister of Southern Province, what's the point of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And you know me, Madam Speaker, I rarely rise on points of order. Unless it is unless, Madam Speaker, it's absolutely compelling. Madam Speaker, I have been seated here for 7 minutes, and in terms of Section 64 and 65 of our standing orders, in respect of a debate and submission on the floor of this House being factual and relevant, I have struggled for 7 minutes to make head and tail of the debate by the honorable member. He touches this issue. Before we get sense out of it, he runs, he jumps to another issue. He's all over like Chiringalinga. Meaning, Madam Speaker, without a defined manner of debate so that the citizens out there who are keenly following debate on the floor of this House and expect PF to bring substantive debates here to offer quality checks and balances are failing, Madam Speaker, letting down the people of this country. Is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Lunte therefore, in order to come with a wish-wash debate on the floor of this House, being the lead debater for the opposition? I need your ruling, Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members. I think the point of order has been sufficiently debated. May the honorable member for Lunte continue.
Madam Speaker, how much does it cost the Zambian people for all this government undertaking I said, including the printing of this speech, which the President would come to deliver from the throne 15 minutes late because our honor the Vice President told us he will be here at 10:25 and he only sat there at 10:40. Madam Speaker, small things as well as big things must matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't say anything. Or the honorable member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker, for according me this opportunity to add 2-3 sentences to the motion which is on the floor of this House today. Madam Speaker, to start with, I want to thank the President that whenever he's here, there are 3 things that the President has never missed. Madam Speaker, these are the word love, unity, and development. Madam Speaker, whenever he comes here, he makes sure that this country is reminded of love, that people ought to love each other, and it's from there that people will get united, work together for the development that we are looking for. Madam Speaker, it is under the New Dawn administration where we have seen that now schools, primary schools, are filled with numbers of pupils because of the free education. The free education, Madam Speaker, is one issue that has brought sanity in this country. A lot of schools were empty because of the hardships that parents went through because they needed to pay for their pupils or for our children to get to grade 1 up to universities. Now what we are seeing is that now everyone is at liberty, willfully, anytime, register their children because of the free education that the citizens of this country are enjoying. Now this same issue of free education, Madam Speaker, has really made it that we need to have more classrooms because of the numbers that we have now. And we are like that the same New Dawn government, Madam Speaker, has brought up the issue of CDF, which has enabled the members of parliament everywhere in all constituencies to ensure that we construct more classrooms for the betterment of our constituencies. And this alone, Madam Speaker, what it has made is that now the influx that we were witnessing from the rural setup to the urban, where people were following these school issues, is no longer going to be there because all the amenities that people follow to the urban are now found in the rural setup. Madam Speaker, the President also talked about the issue of decentralization. This is a policy, Madam Speaker, which has been talked about for a couple of years, but we are happy now that we have an administration that have seen it sensible to actually implement this concept. This is the concept, Madam Speaker, that contributes to what we call good governance. It's one of the tenets of good governance. People now everywhere are able to choose what they want done in their constituencies, which was not there before. When people talk about the issue of decentralization, Madam Speaker, now people in our constituencies, through what we call world development committees, to the constituent development committees, are able to choose on how they want to spend the monies that have been given to them in their constituencies. This alone, Madam Speaker, is a plus to the nation because now citizens sit, decide on what they want done in their respective areas. When we talk about the issue of good governance, Madam Speaker, let me single out the issue, the element or the tenet of good governance, which are accountability, which the President talked about, rule of law, and respect of human rights. Madam Speaker, we have heard how people now are championing to amend or repeal some of these instruments that we actually found as a New Dawn government, which actually they operated under before. Why are they doing that, Madam Speaker? To me, it's purely because of greed. People ought to realize that from the time the New Dawn government came into power, Madam Speaker, there are no instruments so far that New Dawn government have repealed. So it becomes a bit disheartening to hear that people who enjoyed the years back under these same instruments would want now this new government to repeal because they're on the other side. We want to make it clear what was good for Jamesy should be good for Herbert as well. And this is the one way that we are going to ensure that all the laws, the rules that actually we pass or operate under, Madam Speaker, should be those rules that will definitely will stand and serve the interests of the citizens. Madam Speaker, respect of human rights. People in this country now, as I stand, Madam Speaker, they are free to enjoy the civil and political liberties. And it's a prima facie issue that don't need to be debated because everyone else, Madam Speaker, or everyone in this country enjoys those liberties. We have seen how people, Madam Speaker, indeed have decided to regroup because they just want to ascend. But the question will be to ascend to who or to where? We want to ensure that this country is governed in the manner that is above board, in the manner that will serve people's interests. We have an obligation to actually secure this peace, to maintain this peace, to promote this peace, to protect it for the good of the people of Zambia. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mapatizia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Mapatizia to debate on the motion on the floor. I will not waste much time, Madam Speaker. Yes, I want to bring out the issue concerning mining, which the President made mention during his speech on Friday last week, that he has brought order. The new Dawn government has brought order and sanity to the mining sector. Madam Speaker, we have seen the past years how the mining sector has been mismanaged. KCM hasn't been operational for a number of years, yet mining is one of the major economical drivers in this country. KCM now, according to His Excellency, has reached a resolve with government under new conditions to start operating instead of debating or, for a lack of a better term, going to court all the time. I'm not a legal person, Madam Speaker, but I know they call it court litigation. Madam Speaker, we have reached a conclusion, and this is bringing hope to the people of Mapatizia, especially where Mapatizia sits on a lot of minerals. which has not been explored. Madam Speaker, the President made mention of bringing order and normalizing artisanal mining licenses and small-scale mining. In the past, Madam Speaker, Mapatizia has been overlooked because it sits on these rich mineral deposits, the whole lot of Mapatizia. And as a rural MP, whose only hope is in the mining, that it would bring development, Mapatizia has been overlooked. Licenses have been given to foreigners, foreign nationals in the past. And we thank God, government, when it came in power, it froze all the licenses to bring order and sanity, which the president was talking about on Friday. And we are looking forward, as the people of Mapatizia, that order and sanity is coming, and artisanal licenses are going to be given to the locals, unlike in the past, where we see the Chinese and the whites coming and throwing away our people from their traditional land in the name of having licenses. Madam Speaker, talking about the CDF, the President made mention that they are going to employ 3,000 healthy workers. A lot of clinics, maternity wings, and annexes have been built in the country. I think most of the constituencies are doing that right now under the government directive that they should put a lot of maternity annexes. My constituency has seen a number of these maternity annexes. Actually, we have built 5 clinics using the 2022 CDF. And we are hopeful that with the presidential pronouncement that there will be 3,000 more to be hired after the other 3,000, 30,000, really, we are going in the right direction. And the president and his government, they are steering this government in the right direction. Talking about the schools, we built a lot of schools, filled them with desks, but very few teachers. Now, the pronouncements on Friday, we all had 4,500 more teachers. This is bringing hope, especially to a rural constituency like my own. And as a result, we are saying bravo to this government and long live to Hakainde Hichilema. I submit.
Okay, thank you very much. I was still looking at the honorable member for Lumezi. Welcome back. Thank you. The next, the honorable member for Nkana.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity. First of all, Madam Speaker, I'm a bearer of a message of gratitude from the people of Nkana to His Excellency the President for having gifted us the Chivuruma Road. I equally want to thank you, Madam Speaker, that you provided a platform for me on behalf of the people of Nkana to continue to press over the need for us to attend to Chivuruma Road. For it had been a very thorny issue, and I'm glad, and I want to, through you and everyone here, to say thank you to the President for a promise fulfilled. Madam Speaker, I want to speak to 2 issues that were highlighted in the presidential speech, namely the issues of the mines, because I come from a mining constituency. Now, of course, I want to take note that government has announced that it has reached an agreement with KCM. What we wait to see is actions. There is a revelation that Vedanta is going to pump in $1 billion over 5 years. What we wait to see is when this will translate into actions. Madam Speaker, you are aware a lot of contractors and suppliers have been owed for many years. Some of them have had their properties repossessed by banks because they had gone to borrow to service the orders that they got from KCM. So again, we want to see, when does this pronouncement translate into actions? When do contractors and suppliers begin to receive the payment for goods they supplied to KCM? These are things that would like the Minister of Mines to come and give a
a much elaborate statement to highlight all this, particularly the operation order over the issue of KCM. I sit and share the larger part of KCM, and for over 2 years, Madam Speaker, government has continued to assure us that they are going to resolve the issue of Mopani. Madam Speaker, the people of Unkana are yearning and waiting. When is this pronounced resolution going to be arrived at? Because, Madam Speaker, with all the happenings at Mopani, our people's lives are in chaos. And we hope that a resolution could be reached very soon. Now, Madam Speaker, for me, I think that the copper mining sector, we've gotten a raw deal, and it has been overrated. For many times, Madam Speaker, mining companies have cried to government for a favorable tax regime. Not long ago, Madam Speaker, we gifted the mining companies by way of making the mineral royalty tax deductible, on the promise that it was going to spur investment, number one. It was also going to enable them to employ many Zambians. What have we seen happening, Madam Speaker? The opposite has been seen happening as we speak. Number one, the projected production figures of copper have continued to go down, when they promised that if we attend to the issue of the tax regime, the copper production figures will begin to rise up to 3 million tons in the next decade. We've lost 2 years. As we anticipate the production of the figures for 2023, Madam Speaker, the figures have plummeted further. The mining companies have duped us. They are liars, Madam Speaker. So, what does it speak to us? Perhaps we need to look to other mining facets. Here we are talking about gold deposits. We are not only talking about Kasenseri, we are talking about Mpika, we are talking about Lundazi and all the eastern parts of Zambia. We are talking about Mumbwa. Doesn't it bother us, Madam Speaker, that we could be sitting on huge deposit of gold, yet this country continues to have these challenges we are having? Because gold, Madam Speaker, would have taken us above this troubled water in terms of the economy. So, Madam Speaker, I challenge the New Dawn government. Enough of the copper, because we are getting a raw deal out of copper. Why don't we focus on, for argument's sake, Sujrite? I have given calculations of how much Sujrite is costing. Madam Speaker, for argument's sake, if you go to the internet, Sujrite is costing $15 per carat. That translates to $75,000 per ton. That's a lot of money, Madam Speaker. That 14 tons of Sujrite that is sitting in Kabwe, by what is on the internet, can give us $1 billion. Madam Speaker, anyone who has anything contrary to what I'm saying can come and challenge me. So what I'm saying is that we have a lot of minerals that can help us rise above our troubled water in terms of the economy. Why are we not pursuing them aggressively? Why are we not paying attention? It can take us 2 years, Madam Speaker, to resolve the issue of Kasensed. There were no problems that would take us 2 years to resolve. Why hasn't the Minister of Mines come to give us comprehensive statement over Sujrite, over lithium, over gold? Because that is what would help us rise above these challenges, not this copper. These are just duping us, Madam Speaker. So for me, I want to place it. Our priorities are wrong. Let's stop focusing on copper. Let's focus on these lucrative minerals. The world today is going clean energy. The lithium in Mapatisia can help us rise above this problem, Madam Speaker. Why are we sleeping? Why are we sleeping? Madam Speaker, good governance, the rule of law. The rule of law, Madam Speaker, entails the rule by the law. It forbids arbitrary exercise of power. A young man in my constituency today, I went to the Minister of Home Affairs yesterday, has been in police custody. Today is the 9th day over a charge of theft and criminal trespass, a bogus charge. 9 days, for crying out loud. Whatever we expect to be treated, however we expect to be treated, is the same way we should treat citizens. There's no justification why a young man who's accused to have trespassed can be kept in police custody for 9 days. 9 days, Madam Speaker. There's no justification. When the president makes a pronouncement over the rule of law, you, the custodian, you, the ones who are mandated to ensure that that pronouncement is lived, must do the right thing. There's no justification, Madam Speaker. When we make this pronouncement, when we speak loud that we are living by the rule of law, let it be seen by the action. That young man should not be in custody for 9 days. It's unheard of. He's a Zambian. We should never treat Zambians like they are foreigners. We should not worship people. We should not worship people because we should live by the rules.
Sorry, Honorable Member for Nkana.
Finish with the fun, you will come push.
Order. Order. Honorable Member for... What is that now? Maybe you, first of all, you can take a seat. Let me say something. Honorable members, we are one family. Let's treat each other as such with due respect to each other. If a point of order is raised, there is no need to challenge the other honorable member while they are raising a point of order. They are entitled. Let's listen to them. You don't have to point at them and challenge them. I think that is not acceptable behavior for an honorable member of parliament. So, honorable member for Nkana, please desist from that conduct in future. Don't do that. Honorable member for Katombora, what's the point of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for allowing the people of Katombora to raise a point of order pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 65(1)B, manner of debate and authenticity or truthfulness of the information. Madam Speaker, is the honorable member for Nkana in order to come to this house and say that there is somebody in cells for 9 days without laying evidence on the floor of this august house? Is he in order, Madam Speaker, to suggest that this government is abusing the rule of law when he has not even indicated and brought any evidence to suggest that they have availed sureties or anything? Is he in order to come here and start misleading himself and the nation? Is he in order, Madam Speaker? I thank you.
The honorable members, as we debate, let's ensure that we are factual. And if we make any allegation, we should be able to tender. Honorable member for Nkana, why are you saying what? Who are you saying what to? Honorable member for Nkana, you were saying what as I was talking? Who are you addressing when you are saying what? No, that's not acceptable behavior, honorable member for Nkana. I advise and told you, please desist from that unbecoming behavior. You are an honorable member of parliament, and when I'm addressing or guiding you, please take it as such. I'm just guiding you in accordance with our standing orders, even the manner in which you are sitting as I'm talking. What is... No, let's respect each other. It's important to respect ourselves. So, honorable member, if you have any evidence to lay on the table, on the table of this house, to prove that indeed there is a person who has been unreasonably held in detention for 9 days, you can lay it on the table. Otherwise, please do not refer to it. You may proceed.
Madam Speaker, what will help us address issues is when we face realities. I'm not mad, Madam Speaker, to allege that I went to the Minister of Home Affairs.
Order. Honorable member, I've made a ruling. Do not challenge. Do not challenge.
Not mad. These are things, Madam Speaker,
Honorable member for Nkana, please, I'm warning you. If you continue on that line, I'm going to curtail your debate.
No. Madam Speaker, this country needs soberness.
You are even putting your hands in the pockets.
Madam Speaker.
Wind up your debate.
Let me say this.
Wind up your debate, honorable member.
I'm here to represent my people.
Honorable member for Ghana, wind up your debate.
I am here to represent my people. When I come here, colleagues, I don't come to play. When I bring issues, these are issues
Honorable
confronting
member, now
our
you are
people.
challenging what I've guided. Please, let's not go that route. I'm warning you, let's not go that route. Stick to your debate. Please stick to your debate. If you have nothing further to add, you can take your seat.
The rule of law entails the rule by the law. If a person is arrested for
Order,
8
your
hours,
time is
he
up.
must be
Thank
taken
you.
to court.
Order. Honorable Member Fonkana, please leave the house. Honorable Member Fonkana, please withdraw that gesture that you were making to the other honorable member before you leave the house. Can you withdraw and apologize?
By the order of the Speaker, I have withdrawn the pointing and the word Iwe. But colleagues, these are serious matters.
Thank you. You may leave the house. The honorable member for Sesheke.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for according me the opportunity to add a word on the President's address to this House. And Madam Speaker, in representing the people of Sesheke, I want to firstly say thank you to the President, especially when he acknowledged the challenges that the citizenry are facing. The first step in finding a solution to the problem, Madam Speaker, is to agree that indeed there is a problem. And I'm happy that my president did not shy away or politicize the high cost of milling, which to me is very, very important for a leader. Madam Speaker, the president touched quite a number of subjects that are very important for the growth and development of this country, and especially for the people of Sesheke. Standing here, Madam Speaker, I want to confirm and affirm that Sesheke constituency has responded positively to the presidential directive of ensuring quality health care services to the citizens of this country. And with the help of WaterAid and ONCO Africa, Sesheke has so far benefited 17 mouth-faced, fully water-reticulated maternity annexes in Sesheke. Remaining with 5 so that we can do 100% coverage in terms of maternity annexes. I am aware that the interventions that WaterAid as well as ONCO Africa in supplementing government's efforts in ensuring that we reach 100% coverage in terms of quality health care services. Their interventions are going on even in my neighboring constituents where my elder sister is coming from, Mwandi, my colleague here, Kazungula, Monze, as well as where my senior man also is coming from, in Nkehema. Madam Speaker, in the past, it has been very difficult to
ensure that the aspirations of the people are well met, basically because of limited funding with regards to Constituency Development Fund. And in responding to the challenges of development that solely sits on the shoulders of a member of parliament, basically maybe because of the citizenry not understanding the role of a member of parliament, the increment in CDF has so far in the past year to those members that really mean well for their constituencies have made a milestone. And Sesheke has so far benefited from the 2022 CDF, yet to even do more with the 2023 CDF. We have built quite a number of classrooms in ensuring that we respond to the call of free education that has seen quite a number of pupils going back to school. And the president, in his understanding of demand that comes along with these big numbers of pupils that are coming back to school, the previous recruitment that I would not mention, which everyone knows, as you may all know, he has again added on top that we should reduce on the pupil-teacher ratio by employing more teachers. And because he understands that there can never be development or there can never be economic growth or even human resource without the aspect of health, another recruitment in the health sector is coming. Colleagues, what more? What more do we want? It's only important that, like he requested all of us, as well as other leaders outside there, that let's engage each other in civility. Let's bring solutions to the table. This is the kind of leadership that we want. Someone who is inviting you to the table. That can you bring solutions to the criticisms? Can you bring solutions to the problems that our people are facing? Because we are all co-leaders here. We have been called to serve. We are just a 1% of the 17, 18 million plus Zambian citizens who are so privileged to come and serve for the rest of the members of the public. It's only expected of us to reciprocate the call by bringing positive criticism to the president. Madam Speaker, I want to request my senior man, the Minister of Agriculture, that the importance of rain-fed is a thing of the past. We should not dwell much on that. We have to go irrigation as well, because climate change has come to stay. For as long as we rely on rain-fed, then 1 year we are not going to harvest anything. It's only important that let's come up with other interventions and ensure that we produce more. The idea of increasing FRA money is to stimulate the farmers to produce more maize. Because many in the past, like myself, I produced a lot of, how do you call it? Manawa kini masuwa kezeli. Beans.
Order.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
As the time is 16:40, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break. You can go and enjoy Manawa.
That was Sesheke, Member of Parliament Romeo Kangombe, adding his voice to the